Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Garden of All, where we have all of the pleasure and none of the guilt. I am Samantha Jane Love, and this is my lovely, lovely host, Judi Reed.
Hi.
Um, so today we're going to start off talking about boundaries. Who knows where we will go, but hopefully we educate some of you a little bit. I'm sure that this topic is a massive, big topic. Doesn't get talked about enough. I think it's one of the things that we should be teaching our grade eights. As to how you work, it should be an integral part of high school, wherever you
Mm.
are around the world. So it's all different for everybody, but I think it should be something that boundaries and consent. So that's another episode. But today we're just going to talk about boundaries.
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 Love my boundaries now. I struggled with boundaries for many, 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 many years, and it's been like the last 10 years, it's a long, long trip, this one. Yes, but I am finally starting to get on top of, actually setting boundaries and allowing myself to keep them without the guilt. But yeah, as I said, it's taken a very long time.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that we can go to the courses, do the things, and be, whether you go for a retreat, whether it's a 3 day, a 1 day, 14 day, whatever you're doing, whether you're doing a course, whether it's been a 2 hour session with somebody, or it's just you've gone and had a healing and someone said, oh, you need to work on your boundaries. It's not just that. The real work
No.
isn't just the how do I want life to look for me. You can set as many boundaries as you like. It's the implementation. And that's can be the most
That comes
challenging.
from in here.
Yeah, it's because what happens is that if you've been a people pleaser, if you've been a yes person, if you want to be part of the crowd, if you want people to like you, love you, whatever it is, yeah, you become a bit of a chameleon. You say yes to things that you really don't want to, and what's happening is the internal are going, I don't want to do that. Why did you just say yes to that? So there's a bit of a war going on inside, whether it's in your brain, your heart, your womb space, or you wherever it is. And then you've decided, all right, I no longer wish for what's one of yours? Put
Oh, I've always had a tendency to attract energy vampires and let them in, sort of like, yeah, come in, use me up, use me up, use me
yeah,
up.
yeah.
Yep. What I have is yours. Yeah, all fine. And I felt a lot of guilt coming up whenever I'd try and challenge that belief. And I realized a lot of it, is social conditioning from like when I was younger and things like that, and particularly sort of like women's role and, the nurturer and all that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
also, even though outwardly I seemed quite confident, I realized that I had a real self-esteem issue, which is why I was so willing to just give because I felt like that was my value. And yeah, so that's been like the biggest one for me, most definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things that when you've gone, all right, I'm going to make an awareness of where the boundary's been broken, um, and all right, I don't want those behaviors happening anymore in my life. But then what happens is, especially with family, you've known family for however long that you've been going along. And if you're a people pleaser and if you've been people pleasing for 30, 40, 50 years, that's our demographic at the moment, even if
Mm.
it's for 10 years. And then you go, no, because I know that, when my 9 year old goes, no, mummy, I'm like, what the hell? Because mummy goes, where are we going here? And I have to look inside as well.
Mhm.
But if you've been giving of yourself completely because you're like, please like me, I will do anything for you. I want you to appreciate me. I want all these things because it's inside of you that's crying out for all these things. And all these people are like, oh, she's really a sucker. She looks like she's fancy. And I'm speaking from experience as well. And then when
Mhm.
you say, no, you can't just say no. And if you've been doing things in a certain way, when you change the parameters, everyone, if there's a lot of people going that way towards the old version of you and you've moved over here, they start glitching and they're like,
Oh yeah,
no,
yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, no, you have to come back over here. So there's this tug
Mhm.
of war. And it does take a really deep foundation of self awareness to be able to, and some time. You can't just go if you've been in a relationship or if you've been in a family setting, you can't just go, hey guys, this is the new me, and you either like it or lump it. You just go, you can do it in a few different ways. You go, I know that would fly with me before, but now I prefer if you addressed me in this way, or just do it with some kindness and compassion, and give them a bit of time to one, see that you're serious. Because if you're whatever age you are and you're saying, I'm like this now, they're like, no, no, you're not. I don't see you like that. So they need to be able to see you like that. And just because you've had a bit of a change, um, they don't believe it. They say that seeing is believing. So the more that you can be authentically in your new belief systems of your boundaries, it then entrains people around you to step up into those particular boundaries.
And also, I think on that point, when you do start setting the boundaries, sometimes people will disappear from your life. And that's okay. And you need to give yourself time to process that and deal with that because some people are there in your life specifically because you had no boundaries, like because of what they're getting out of it. And so they don't like the change. And I think that can be a difficult transition too, because you question yourself, am I not likable anymore? Or, all that negative.
All the stuff that, well, am I crazy to want to change? I must be the problem now.
Mm,
Or
mm,
people don't like me more. They're saying, oh, you've changed. Yes, I've changed. I'm supposed to change.
mm.
I'm not supposed
And
to
it's
be the
okay.
puppy
I think
dog that
it's
you
the
wanted.
yeah, it's creating the space. So if people do tend to leave, there's probably a reason why they tend to leave. And it's the reason probably is that you don't need that kind of energy around you. And when you change your boundaries and start setting boundaries, there also needs to be the space for new supportive energy to come into that. So I think um, it's good to adopt a philosophy of being able to let go as well, to let go of that energy that you don't need and give gratitude. I give gratitude to lots of the people that have been in my life who've taught me some very valuable lessons that have helped me to
Yeah.
learn about setting my boundaries. But they're no longer part of my life because they've got a different life path and I've got a different life path. And I think it's important to be able to embrace that and you can still be loving and let people go. I think it's important to remember that. Some people see it as rejection, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's
And
respecting someone else's space, they respect yours. So
And it's an interesting thing that, boundaries within the family unit as well. It's probably a big thing on the market at the moment, I saw it even I've sort of seen it on a couple of different things that people are talking about, children abandoning or being abandoned or whatever. But sometimes our parents, whoever's in our family are there just to see us through that phase of our lives. I think the days are, everyone has a different thing that they want to learn. And for me, um, I know that I've really found it difficult to fit within my family. It just wasn't, it
Mm.
was very difficult. I wasn't sporty enough and I wasn't this enough and I was never enough. And or I was too crazy. I was always not enough or too. Like
Too
I'm like,
much. Yeah.
so when you're one or the other, it makes you go a little bit like, am I a little bit crazy? What's going on here? I must be the problem. Um,
Mm.
but then when you start doing development and self-awareness on yourself, you can see when you go back into said family, you can see where things are happening. And I didn't want to be a silly little girl anymore. I was like a 40-year-old person. And I'm very big on if someone has given me I would like to have some space or whatever, you give them space. But I don't like contradicting things. So
Mm.
you're going
Mm.
to give someone a boundary, be very, very decisive about it. And don't just go, I want this right now. Think about what you actually want in your life and think about, is it I just don't want someone to treat me that way, or I just don't want that person in my life anymore. So these are the big things. And they can be very painful things as well, if you are really attached to the idea of being in a family unit as well, or attached to a person who is not treating you as you would like to be treated or should be treated, or maybe not should, would like to be treated. Um, I do believe that, we should all, I have an old saying, and my sister and I used to say it, and it is, don't be a CUNT. Um, that's pretty much like if you go around in life and you can have that.
Mm.
We all were born and we're like slapped on the bum and gone, you're crying, yay. Now, your lot in life is don't be a CUNT, all the rest of it, make up yourself.
Yep. Yeah. Go for
I mean,
it.
like that would have world peace, we'd stop wars, you know,
Hmm.
like there's a lot to it. But I know that the human brain works in different ways, and we all like things different ways, and we all want to be respected, but we don't want to be earning respect. There's lots of different things that are going on in society right now and a lot of people go, I want my boundary met right now without
Mm.
that, there's got to be some give and take on things. um
I think, yeah, and it's also it's not a superficial thing. It may appear outwardly to other people. Suddenly, you've got these boundaries and things like that. But I think the fact is that it's a process, and if you believe in the soul, it's part of your soul evolution to learn about these things and to grow and develop in that way. So there's a lot more to it than just the superficiality of it all. And I think it's got a lot to do with how you see yourself. It's not so much setting boundaries for other people, but setting boundaries within yourself that
yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's
deserve
definitely it.
to
Yeah.
be treated like this. It's okay for me to say, no, it's okay for me to have boundaries and say, I want to be treated like this. I expect this in my life, nothing unreasonable, but like I expect respect
Yeah.
now. And if people aren't showing me respect, I'm allowed to set a boundary and say, well, I'm not going to engage in this
Yeah.
anymore. That's just one sort of very basic
But yeah, I
example,
think
but I
that's
think
the
that's the key.
perfect key is that it's not about the external, it is definitely about our internal. And the more that we, like I said earlier, that foundation of these boundaries are for us. So if we can't stick to our own boundaries, how are we expecting if we're in coupleship, families, even with our children or anything else? Um, Boundaries with children, that's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
um, yeah, we need some space in that. But it's things about what we as a person, we as a human are going to be accepting within our lives now. So yeah, that's really on the money of that one. Um, Everyone, can you see Colors in the background? Colors has come to share with us today. She is
Oh, yeah, she really is a co-host, you
Yeah,
know.
she is another co-host. She's been in a few of our episodes so far. Um, my cat has not been fluffed about it at the moment, but we'll see. If we start singing or something, he may come down. That'll be different
Mhm.
episodes. Back to boundaries. Like everything in life, there is balance with it. There's healthy ones and there's non-healthy ones. So it's a lot of it is through self-reflection and yeah, just knowing what you want to allow into your life.
And I think the self-reflection is the key because a lot of people think, I want to be able to set boundaries. Like I want to change this in my life, but I don't know what to do or how to do it. And that can be a very daunting process, particularly, if you've grown up with a certain mindset, like you can just think, how can I see a world beyond this? Or how can I create a world
Mm,
beyond this? And I think that's where the reflection comes in. And I think it's also very important to treat yourself in a loving way while you're going through that process because it's not going to happen automatically. And that doesn't mean you're a failure. That doesn't mean that
yeah.
you're wrong to be wanting to move into a different direction. I think that it's important to understand where the anxiety might be coming from or what might be blocking you from
And
being able
I
to
think too,
move
when we've
forward.
been a certain way, that we need to, these things are probably going to come up. So just allow them. There
Mm,
will be shame and guilt, and all of the, especially shame and guilt when you've been.
hmm
And the reflection is not on anybody else. And yes, there are bad people out there that treat people badly, but we also have to look at, um, you know, what is the lesson that is going on um, for us right now? Is it something that these bad people, as Judy was saying, these energy vampires, they may not be bad people, they're just behaving badly. Um,
mm. It's a dynamic.
that's
Yeah.
that's a dynamic that Judy was allowing them to come in. I know that I've allowed those people to come into my life as well. It's about being brutally honest with yourself and going, okay, this is what I have allowed in my life. And I'm grateful for all of that. I don't have to be okay with a lot of it,
Mm,
but how we're going to change. And we don't have to change everything overnight. But when we have a self awareness moment, there is that moment that you're like, yay, I've just had this self awareness moment. But
woohoo!
I call it, I always laugh because I like to call it the spiritual walk of shame, where you've had a spiritual awakening of some sort, where even if it's just an epiphany, and then the next day you're like, oh my God, I've been doing that for 30 years. Oh my God,
Mm,
I let that person in my life for that long. All of that. So there is an element of allow yourself to have that little moment. Just don't swim in that puddle.
yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice
So
way to put it.
if those things come up, they need to be seen for a little bit. If they're not seen and dealt with in a transmutative irritational way, they will come back. They'll be like, I'm gonna knock a little bit louder now.
Hi, it's back again. Yeah,
And we're gonna suck a little bit extra this time.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
And it's interesting, even though the word boundary, makes you think of like fences or walls or something like that.
with the moat coming down to let
Yeah.
you in. I will let
But
my bridge down and you may
internally,
enter my tower.
but internally it can create an incredible sense of freedom, like of lightness as well. So it's not sort of like you're hemming yourself in, you're actually releasing
Totally.
yourself. And that's certainly something that I've noticed within myself, the better I've got at setting my boundaries. And the world feels lighter now.
Yeah.
So, don't think of it as a restrictive type thing where you're shutting yourself in a box. You're not shutting yourself in a box. You're just deciding what's going to be able to pass through into your
Yeah, it's like
energy. And
cramming
that's
for an
freedom.
essay or like training for the marathon. Like you take yourself away. So it may seem like it's a little bit distorted and like blocky for the first little bit because you have to sort of go, all right, what is it that because if you just keep going, it's very mushy and stuff like that. So you sort of have to take yourself away, put that wall up, and then once you do let the drawbridge out, it's one of those things that it's when someone does the things that, even if they start doing the things that really used to irritate you, the stronger your foundation within your own boundary and your self awareness, when those people do those things, you just go, ah,
Yeah.
ah.
Yep. You just don't need to take it on.
Yeah, but it does, it is, but it is a bit of a transition for grounding them deep into yourself, Mother Earth, being really aligned with whatever however you want to do it. Some people are very analytical in the way that they want to do things. Some are like, I need to feel this in my body more. Whatever your way is perfect for you because we are all different. And we, collectively have a very long list of tools and, years of experience working with people. And even, self experience sometimes is a great tool as well when you've actually delved through the trainings of it all. And it is just sometimes it's just like, oh, we'll try this. How much do we really want to change this boundary? Oh, obviously not that much because that one fell over. But sometimes you go, I'm going to be this way. And there's also a thing that I like to say, especially in my house, is picking your battles. Sometimes you have to pick your battles as well, especially when you're introducing boundaries, when you've never had them.
Mm.
Yeah, as I said, we'll probably do another episode with kids. But yeah, generally, kids are the ones that get to push the boundaries over a lot with parents, especially if you've been single parents as well, because it can be a bit of a tough slog with that. And it's an interesting thing of going, all right, is that really a boundary or is that something that I just want so it makes my life easier? So,
Mm, mm.
yeah, but we can explore that maybe next time. We'll see.
I think yeah. Yep,
Yeah.
that'll be a good one.
So
Yes.
this was just a little snippet. So that's what we want to do with all of these Garden of All episodes. We want to just give you little insights into just the crux of what boundaries are. We haven't gone into a teaching mode right now. It's if you guys want to know more about boundaries, please send us messages and do all the things, comment and all those things. And we will
Or
delve
if you want to know
deeper.
more about techniques for developing those boundaries or even identifying what boundaries you
Yes,
might need to set,
maybe this
because
will
sometimes
get you
people
about
don't know.
thing. We'll actually do some more episodes as we go down the road. Yeah, we don't want to give you all of our tips and tools. We'll give you some of them. We're not opening the drawbridge just for you to have a free for all. Not just yet, anyway.
That would just be too much, you know.
Pretty much, like if you get all of Sam and all of Judy at the same time,
Yeah.
without like working up a tolerance, it'd be got like going for the extra strong, you know, the chili of all chilies, the mother of all chilies. If you've never had a chili before and going straight there, that would be what it
Yeah.
is. You're like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, don't do that. You build up a tolerance to our quirkiness, our bit of a dry sense of humor, it's a bit dark sometimes as well.
Mm,
It's probably why
mm.
we mesh together very well. Um, and, you know, as we've said, no subject will ever be off down. So if you want to know about a subject, even though it may be really uncomfortable, we will look at it and we'll give you details on all of the variants of it, not just from one perspective. And we may come from one perspective in one episode and come from a different perspective in a different episode as well. So we are lifelong learners. So if we don't have the details, we'll find a professional who delves into that stuff, or, you know, we might go down an Alice rabbit hole ourselves to, you know, find some information as well. So that has been our third episode. Oh my gosh. And it has been fun talking about boundaries. We could literally talk about boundaries all day, and it's such an easy subject, but it can be very complex, or people can overcomplicate it as well. It's just starting simple and not going, I'm wiping the slate clean and we're just fully starting again. Start easy. Start with one
Mm.
thing. Start with the thing that really, you know, brings you the highest amount of stress, the thing that could be the easy one as well. Sometimes, you know, like when you've got 1,000 tasks to do, you pick the easy one. And once you've done the easy one, you then get on a roll and you go,
Yep.
oh yeah, I'll do one of those
Get the
other ones.
momentum happening, and then you get the domino effect happening, and yeah.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add?
I can't think of anything else except to say thank you everyone for joining us today. And yeah, we hope that you found it useful.
Thank you, everyone. This is the Garden of Love, where you get all of the pleasure, none of the guilt. See you next time.
Bye.